Hi there and welcome to my channel. This project is part of the Altenew June 2019 blog hop as they are releasing new stamps, dies, and stencils, and actually very cute and such beautiful sets that you want to check out. So for this layout, I am going to use the Sunflower Daisy set, and I have actually the the dies, and the masking stencil, and I love it. It was very simple to layer. I took some time off camera just to stamp quite a few of them. I'm gonna use I use Cosmic Berry for the pinks. I use the new set of the yellow inks for the sunflowers, and then I use a little bit of sand dunes, the kind of brownish tone, to stamp some of the white ones. And I'm gonna show you how I went about it. For my yellow sunflower daisies, I used the 4 steps that has to create the petals. So you're gonna have the first one is you stamp the entire flower, and that's gonna give you the depth of color. And then you go into the two following steps, so it's just outlines and just adding definition. And I did this for the yellow. Like I said, I use all the steps, and I'm gonna use different colors of yellow. This is sunray, and then I'm gonna use chamomile, just to add the depthness of the yellow story. I wanted the true sunflower yellow. But for the white ones and some of the pink ones, I just used the last 3 steps. I didn't want to add that depth of color. I just wanted the outlines, because I really like just having the outline, having that really light flower look. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna show you how I created both of them. And like I said, this layering set is super easy to create, and it's gonna take no time. Everything is based on the center of the flower. There's a few petals you gotta line up, but after that it's very simple. So it's gonna take you no time to create quite a few of them, and that's probably why I have so many. I created, I think, a few too many, but I don't mind it. I usually keep them for another project in the future. So you're gonna see that once I stamped all the outlines of the petals of the flowers, and I did this for the big one and the small one, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the centers. Now for the centers of the flowers, for the yellow ones, for the real sunflower ones, I used actually sand dune, the brown, and I think it's espresso. I used the combination to create a true brown center like you see in a sunflower. But for the brownish tone ones and some of the pink, I actually went with a green center. I wanted it gave me the idea of like I wanted a lighter tone, something that would contrast with the yellow but work together. And because I have those brown tones, everything is gonna work really nice together. So you're gonna see that the center of the flowers too are very easy to stamp, and it's gonna create a great definition. It's gonna give a lot of depth to this flower. Like I said, I cannot rave enough. It's a great stamp to have in any way you do it. So you're gonna see that once I have them all stamped, I'm gonna just take it the dies and gonna work and just cut them all together. Now my idea for this layout is I wanted to have some flowers bursting out of a heart. So I debated between having a white background, and I really like the craft look because I think it makes the white and the flowers stand out, as long as same as with the picture. So what I did off camera is I played with the formation, and I wanted the flowers kind of coming from underneath the heart, kind of bursting from underneath. And when I created my heart, I actually drew the heart and then added a perforated line around it so that I can create some stitching. I just want to add a little bit of texture to the layout, and also add when you stitch, I use 6 strands of embroidery floss. It adds some dimension, which is what I need just to create a little shadow that you see in between the flowers, the heart, and the picture. So because also I added those 6 strands and I added dimension, when I put the paper down, there's going to be a little bit of a gap and the paper is going to dip. So to what was the word? Just to make sure the paper doesn't dip, I'm gonna add some foam adhesive behind it and just gonna keep it all even. Now to layer the picture, to bring a little bit of color, I'm gonna use one of the papers from the reflection scrapbook from Altenew, just to bring us like a really soft frame for it. I don't want it to get lost in the sea of flowers that I'm gonna add. Now when I attach this picture, there's a picture of my daughter. I love this picture. I just took a picture of her sitting at the swing and really liked it how it turned out. So just to make sure that the picture lays flat on my layer, I'm gonna use some foam adhesive behind it. And I had to go through my little stash of foam adhesive just to make sure that I had 2 different heights or 2 different widths of foam adhesive, so that when the picture lays down, it actually sits flat. And once I have that in place, I'm gonna go ahead and glue the entire edge of the heart, but I'm not gonna pull the adhesive part for the middle of the heart, because remember, I'm gonna put some flowers underneath, and I want the picture to be able, I need to have the picture be able to lift so I can place the flowers underneath. And then I'm gonna start kind of building my layout, bringing the flowers. And my idea is to have the flowers coming from underneath the heart and kind of bursting from there. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna start with the top part of the picture, and once I'm happy with what the flower is kind of in between the picture and the heart, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling out the paper that protects the adhesive from behind the picture so that everything gets glued together. And then I'm gonna continue building the clusters of flowers. You're gonna see that in between the flowers, I'm gonna add some foam adhesive in between them too, and that's just gonna help create dimension. It's gonna help create movement, and it's not gonna make it so flat, and that it just makes all the details of the flowers kind of stand out too. And if you are gonna put the effort, and these flowers are beautiful, you wanna make them each like a centerpiece. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna play with you. Remember, I took a picture of my layer when I put everything together, so I have an idea more or less where everything is gonna go. It's not gonna look the same as the picture, but at least it's kind of a guideline to continue working. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna set flowers. I'm gonna play with some of the color combination, something that is gonna create a nice looking cluster. I know I'm gonna bring some of the yellow just to bring some my eye there, because the yellow is gonna pop a lot in this layout. And you're gonna see that I'm not afraid to cut some of the leaves, make them instead of having a tree of leaves, making a single leaf. So that just helps me with the movement of some of the flowers, also with the placement. And once I'm kind of happy with what the top looks like, I'm gonna start working at the bottom. And here's where I'm going to kind of make the flowers look like they're bursting out of the heart. And for that, I am gonna bring a few from underneath the heart. But once I have enough that kind of cover the edge of the picture, I'm gonna kind of stretch them a little bit outside of the edge of the heart. So you're gonna see, I'm gonna take it off camera just because I played a little bit with the formations. And I went also and pull out, I had stamped the little leaves that come in the Sunflower Daisy set, but I had set them on my table, so I went and bring them because I think those little I need the little leaves just to fill the spaces, to break up some of the flowers. The leaves help to break the flowers, bring more details. The greenery helps in that case. So you're gonna see that it's I actually added a few of the leaves, and you're gonna see how I said that it's at this part that I start extending the look of the flower story, so that they look like they're bursting out of the page of the heart in this case. And that kind of creates a diagonal design on my layout. And then I'm gonna start embellishing, and it's gonna take very little embellishing. I added the title comes from the Live Your Dream collection, and then I'm gonna add a sentiment, kind of a subtitle. And for this, I'm using one of the sentiments that comes in the Sunflower Daisy Stamp set. 3 little sentiments, but they're beautiful. So I'm gonna use one of them, and I'm gonna stamp it right underneath the picture. I thought it was the perfect setting. This is again a layout that it is gonna be, I'm gonna say more of it's not gonna tell that much journaling. There's gonna be no journaling on this layout. It's more of a display layout. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna keep my embellishments to a minimal. I love the fact that there's lots of flowers. It's very simple, but the flowers are gonna do a lot, pretty much all the work on this layout. All I'm gonna do is bring a few enamel dots just to kind of bring the colors together to those little corners where I added my sentiment. I added a little cluster at the top corner, top left corner of the picture, sorry. And also a few more enamel dots around the title, and that it is all it's gonna take. I really love how this turned out. Like I said, in reality, this layout took, I'm gonna say, put together in no time. Stamping also took no time, but it was it was a 2-step process, and I love how this turned out. I hope you try it. Check out this stamp set. It's one that you want to keep. It's amazing. And because I stamped so many flowers, I had a few left over, so I'm gonna take advantage of the new dies too to create another project using the flowers. In this case, I'm gonna use the stencil set to create a card. So you see, I have all these flowers left over, and I'm gonna save them for another project in the future. So you see them come back in the future. But in this case, I'm gonna use the Frilly Frame Die to create a card. And what I did is I cut two frames, one of metallic paper, and this is, it looks like gold but it's not gold, it's like a citron green. And then I actually cut a piece of just some copy paper that I had on the table, just to create a mask. And all I'm doing right now is I'm building my card. I'm gonna put the flowers and the frame on the paper just to give me an idea of how big I need it, and then I'm going to take it off camera and just cut it and make sure it's scored properly. Now that I have it in place, you're going to see that again I'm going to play with the formation, making sure that my idea, the way I have it in my mind, looks good on the paper. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and start building the background. So that paper, remember that I said I cut it with the die, with the Frilly Frame Die. I'm gonna use the center just to create a mask, because I want to make sure that that place stays, in this case gonna be craft, but I want it to be clear. That's where my sentiment's gonna go. So what I'm gonna use to create my background is the stencil set, or the masking stencil from the Sunflower Daisy, and I want to add the leaves that come in this set as the background for the card. And for this I am using Vicky Boutin art crayon, and this is like an ochre tone, and I thought it was going to be really take place of it instead of having the yellow flowers. And a stencil brush. These are Vicky's art crayons. Think of it of an oil pastel, the water soluble, and I like working with them because it's a dry application and I can go ahead and continue working right away without having to wait for it to set. But you can do this with inks, you can do this with your blenders. I just like using the stencil brush. It's just an easier and faster application. So all I do is scribble the crayon on my little mat, and then pick up the pigment on a circular motion with my brush, and then go in a circular motion on top of the stencil, just gonna create the impression on the paper. So you're gonna see that I'm just gonna make sure that I have leaves, that the leaves, I'm okay if they are superimposed or that they touch each other, like when I put them on the paper. All I'm gonna make sure is that the edges of the card have an impression of the leaf, and that's just because I don't want to have those empty spaces. I want to make sure that it looks like I cut it out of a piece of pattern paper. That's always my idea when I'm creating something like this. You're gonna see that I'm gonna move the stencil a little bit. I'm gonna move my brush too. I'm gonna move the card, just because, like I said, I don't mind having some of the leaves that look like they are on top of each other, because when I add the double impression of in this case the art crayon, it just creates a deeper tone when the leaves are meet, and I'm okay with that. I actually like that. And but like I said, I'm gonna make sure, you're gonna see that I make sure that the limit or the perimeter of the card has an impression of the leaf. It's just gonna help me. Like I said, my idea is always that I cut the paper out of a bigger piece of pattern paper, so it, it doesn't look defined. It looks just very natural. After I have that in place, I'm gonna go ahead and just glue the frame onto the card, making sure that the center of the frame is matches the center that I masked with a little piece of paper. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and add the sentiment. But for that, I'm gonna put the flowers to make sure that I have the right placing. And I thought about adding a pencil line, but I'm really bad at erasing after. So all I just did is mark the line with my nail, and then I added the sentiment with the black ink from Altenew, and this says grateful for you, and that's one of the sentiments that comes in the Sunflower Daisy set. And then I'm just gonna add some foam adhesive behind the flowers and add the leaves to it. Once I have that in place, you're gonna see that I'm gonna bring some of the Nubo drops, and it's gonna bring some accents of pink, some accents of gold, and I have the clear ones, and they're just gonna look like some dew on the flowers and on the leaves. And that's about it. I love what this turned out. It took no time to put together because I had everything at hand. I had all the flowers stamped, and I hope you try it. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. Check this month's releases. They're great. And don't forget to hop onto my blog. You can find the link on my description box, because you can get, as always, have the chance to win some gift certificates and see a lot more projects that I created, quite a few for this month's release. Thank you so much for joining me, guys, and I hope to see you in a little bit. Take care.